Do you know what it's like to be forgotten? To scream into the void and hear nothing but your own silence? They said I wasn't enough. They told me I couldn't rise. They wanted chaos. They wanted my destruction. Every whisper behind my back, every sneer, every betrayal was another brick in the wall they built to trap me. But they didn't understand something about me. I don't break. I shatter into pieces sharp enough to cut through anything. Pain doesn't ask for permission before it moves in. It grips you by the throat, silences your dreams, and leaves you gasping for air. Do you know that weight? That endless pit in your stomach that tells you you'll never escape? Life isn't fair. It's not a fairy tale. No night is coming. No miracle will save you. So what do you do when the world turns its back? Do you crumble? Or do you rise from the ashes? This is not a story for the weak. This is for the ones who've been on their knees, screaming at the sky with no one listening. Chaos came for me, and I welcomed it. Pain is a prison. No windows, no light, just 4 suffocating walls closing in. It wraps around you like chains, dragging you deeper into the void. You scream, but the sound is swallowed whole, leaving you alone with nothing but your own doubts. Every failure plays on repeat, every misstep magnified until you start believing the lies. You're not enough. You'll never be enough. Society loves to point fingers. They preach about resilience while they watch you drown. They smile with their perfect masks, but you know the truth. They're waiting for you to fall. The world doesn't stop for your pain. It mocks it, exploits it, thrives on it. Do you know what it feels like to carry that? To fight battles that no one sees? To wake up every morning feeling like you've already lost? I do. There were days when I thought the darkness would consume me. Nights when I begged for the silence to end, even if it meant the end of me. But the thing about darkness, it teaches you. It shows you who you really are. Not the polished version. Not the one the world expects. The raw, broken, unfiltered truth. And here's the truth. I hated myself. Not just the pain, but the weakness, the helplessness. The person I saw in the mirror. I wanted to destroy them, to burn it all to the ground. But then it hit me. Destruction wasn't my enemy. It was my weapon. They wanted chaos. Fine. But I wouldn't be their victim. I wouldn't let the world define me. If the storm was coming, I would become it. I would rip through every lie, every chain, every cage they tried to lock me in. Because the only way out of the darkness is to fight through it. The chains didn't break. I broke them. And piece by piece, I built myself into something unrecognizable, something powerful. There comes a moment when the pain doesn't just hurt, it fuels you. I reached that moment when I realized no one was coming to save me. No one cared about the weight crushing me, the scars on my soul, or the battles I fought in silence. And you know what? That was my freedom. Because once you stop waiting for a rescue, you learn to save yourself. I stopped running. I stood my ground. When life came for me, fists clenched, I didn't cower. I didn't flinch. I looked it in the eyes and said, "Is that all you've got?" It hit me again and again. Failure, rejection, betrayal. They all came like waves in a storm. And each time I fell, I broke, I bled. But I got back up. I bleed, I break, but I rise. Again and again, until the pain became my armor. Until the wounds became lessons. Until the fire inside me burned brighter than the chaos around me. Do you know what it feels like to fight yourself and win? To take every doubt, every fear, every insecurity and crush it beneath your heel? They told me I was too weak, too broken to rise. But weakness isn't falling, it's staying down. And broken pieces are sharp. They cut. I became the storm they couldn't contain, the chaos they couldn't control. When they tried to silence me, I roared louder. When they tried to bury me, I clawed my way out. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. Resilience isn't pretty. It's not some polished victory lap. It's messy, raw, and painful. But it's worth it. Every tear you cry, every scream you swallow, every battle you fight in the dead of night, it all leads to one thing: power. Not the kind that controls others, the kind that controls yourself, the kind that makes you unshakable. So when the storm comes, don't run, don't hide, become it. Let it tear through every doubt, every fear, every limit you thought you had. Because you're not just surviving anymore, you're fighting back. Strength is lonely. No one talks about the isolation that comes with carrying the weight of your own battles. Everyone admires the strong, but no one wants to understand what it costs. The late nights spent staring at the ceiling, the empty rooms where you scream just to hear your own voice. Strength demands sacrifices no one sees. You become a fortress, impenetrable, unshakable, but cold. People don't ask how you're doing because they assume you don't need help. They look at your scars and think, they're fine, they're strong. But they don't see the nights you cried into your hands or the mornings you struggled just to get out of bed. Because strength doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you carry it alone. Every battle you fight leaves a scar, and every scar is a reminder, not just of the pain, but of the victory. The world will never understand the cost of those victories, but you will. You'll know what it means to rise when everything around you falls. But here's the paradox. The stronger you get, the lonelier it feels. Because strength isn't loud or showy. It's silent, unrelenting. It's the ability to stand tall when no one else can. And while that loneliness can crush you, it's also your greatest ally. Because in those moments of solitude, you discover who you really are. You stop relying on others for validation, for approval. You become your own source of power. And when the world tries to break you again, you'll smile. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you've already proven to yourself that you can survive anything. The battle within is never over, but every time you choose to keep fighting, you win. The scars aren't just wounds, they're proof of survival. Every cut, every bruise, every broken piece of you tells a story, not of weakness, but of endurance. You didn't fall apart. You didn't let the darkness win. You stood in the storm, even when it tore you to shreds, and you survived. But survival isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. Because pain doesn't go away. It shapes you. It molds you into something stronger, sharper, more dangerous. And that's not a bad thing. That's power. Here's the truth no one tells you. You'll never erase the pain. It will always be there, lingering in the corners of your mind, whispering doubts into your ears. But you don't have to let it control you. You don't have to let it define you. You can wear your scars like armor. You can take the weight of the world and turn it into fuel. You can look in the mirror and say, "This is who I am." Flaws, scars, darkness, and all. Because acceptance isn't giving up. It's taking control. It's standing tall and saying, "Yes, I've been through hell, and I'm still here." Life will never stop testing you. The world will never stop throwing chaos your way. But you've already proven that you can handle it. You've already shown that no matter how many times you fall, you'll rise again. So keep moving forward. Keep fighting. Because the storm isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. And once you become the storm, nothing can stop you. The world may want chaos. Let them. But you're the one they'll never forget. They wanted chaos. But they didn't expect me. They thought I'd crumble, thought I'd fade into the background like another forgotten soul. But they underestimated the fire that burns within me, the fire that refuses to die, no matter how many storms I face. Pain shaped me, but it doesn't define me. The scars I carry aren't signs of weakness. They're proof that I've walked through the fire and come out stronger. I am not the person I was before. I've shattered every limit, torn through every chain, and risen from every failure. If you're standing on the edge right now, wondering if you have it in you to keep going, hear this. You do. You are stronger than the voices in your head. You are more resilient than the weight on your shoulders. And when the storm comes for you, don't run. Face it. Become it. Because warriors don't quit. Fighters don't surrender. And survivors don't just survive. They conquer. This is your moment. Your fight. Your chance to prove to yourself that nothing, not pain, not fear, not chaos, can stop you. If I can endure, so can you. Fight, because warriors never quit. Now stand up, own your power, and let the world know the storm isn't coming. The storm is here. Subscribe for more videos. And like this video, because your story is just beginning.